Hey Alice, welcome back to the Mad Tea Party. You have caught me at new set that we're working on. Haven't put up curtains in here yet. Hopefully, the sun is less aggressive later on in this interview. But I have a very special guest with me. The great and powerful Copper Queen is here. You can find her on YouTube at Sacred Energy Exchange 222. That's exchange with no E, just an X. I'll put a link to it in the description below so you can go straight to that from here. You'll also want to check out her website, her shop website, goddessontherise.life. I will put a link up to that as well. But yeah, thanks for being here. Appreciate you.
Yes, I'm happy to be here today.
Yeah, this has been a long time coming. I'm glad we both found time to we're both busy people, so I'm glad we had
Yeah,
time to make this happen. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the world right now. And I just want to say that I really appreciate what you do for people, opening up their eyes, uh, and just being the person that you are. I appreciate you.
thank you. I'm happy you got this platform.
Yeah, yeah. We all got to do what little we can, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's there's we were talking about this on the phone the other day, but there's a war going on. And part of that war is one side is convincing the other side that there's not a war going on and just like lulling them to sleep.
Yes. The spiritual warfare.
Yeah. And then you get some you ever look at like these guru type influencers, like I mean obviously they're not all bad. Like there's me and you and we're the good ones, but then there's ones that like absolutely just commoditize it and like take advantage of people, you know? You know what I'm talking
There
about?
is those, it's a lot of those out there. And it's very upsetting to people like myself. And I know there's others like myself that are really out here pushing the truth and like you said, helping people heal through things. And then you got these people that they're like they're paid. I feel like sometimes paid influencers, they like to kind of trick people into following them. But it's been happening in so many other aspects as well, not just in the spiritual community, but because the spiritual community took off so much, people are going to jump on whatever they can take advantage of that's popping or popular at that time. And it's a lot of those. They getting a lot of money.
Yep. Yeah, if there's a market for it, then people are taking advantage of it. Yeah. It's like you said, it's every aspect of everything now. Um, but it goes back far too. Like we were talking about religion the other day, and um, I mean, popes have been cashing in on the Holy Spirit for a long fucking time.
A long time.
Like they found a way to make money off of uh spirituality like a long time ago.
Man, you ain't. Yes, they did.
Yeah. And then I feel like all that's really happened is it's changed hands from religion to politics. So now it's like everyone's an atheist and is like thinks that's super cool, but then they're just as devoutly faithful to whatever their like whoever's daddy government at the time.
Yeah, that's what, which is I feel like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, let's just keep it real. We know this. Our government has been rocky for a very long time.
Yeah. It's both sides of it. Like I get people like really on one side, and then I got friends that are really on the other side. And it's like y'all are both getting played. Like you're both of y'all are falling for the joke. That's been the
Man,
only
and
message.
yeah, I remember that election year last year. It was so crazy. People was getting in fights about that stuff. And I'm apolitical. That's what I tell people. I'm like, I'm just apolitical. I don't pretend to know everything about politics, but I know that it's broken. And we
Yeah.
and we're getting played both sides.
Yeah. It it seems like everyone I talk to knows that too. It's like yeah, it's you're gonna it's hard to find someone that is like, nah, our government's not corrupt. Like everyone knows, you know?
I'm like, I'm gonna need you to do way more research on some
Yeah.
serious situations that has been taking place. I mean, look at all these whistleblowers. They take
Mhm.
their, they literally they get them out of here when they start telling secrets. Or some of these people, I don't know if you remember back in 2020, it was people that was exposing stuff, and they started getting offed.
Yep.
That was happening. That was actually broadcasted on television. People was coming up missing and or just miraculously. And I'm like, this stuff is not a coincidence. You know what I'm saying? And they took their citizenship and kicked them out.
Yep. There's a lot of that going on right now too. It's yeah, I don't like what you say, I'm deporting you kind of stuff. Which I mean, yeah, it's across the board. It's all of them. They're all crooked as fuck. None of them give a fuck about any of us. Like,
It's about power, control, and
yeah.
conditioning. They have to keep us conditioned to their will. I actually was just talking to somebody today about some stuff because it's like just like the money stuff. You remember when they tried to shut down I think it was Cash App, and the owner of Cash App ended up dying, getting stabbed to death in his apartment. And they was trying to run this government app. You remember that? They never
No.
launched it. It was a whole nother government app where the government was going to be in charge of it and stuff after and trying to take over Cash App, and then he ended up dead. That story went quiet, stuff like
Mm.
that. And now Zelle shut down their app, and now you can only use it through your bank. So they always trying to find a way to control our money, take away our ability. It's that's really what's going on too. 2020 made everybody start going into business for themselves. You know what I mean? And that it was a war for our money. You know what I'm saying? Since they
Yeah.
they want to stay in control of how we get money and how we, so they can make sure they get their cut.
Yeah, I didn't even know that about Cash App. That's crazy. I didn't know that
Yeah,
about Zelle either. That's wild.
yeah, he's dead. He been dead for a minute. That happened like I think maybe a year ago now, and they didn't talk about that anymore. He just got stabbed to death in the middle of they was trying to buy his Cash App, and he didn't want to sell it, and that was the fight. And that's what they do is you can get knocked off if you don't want to do what they say when the government tries to get involved. I think that's crazy. I'll be like, do we not pay attention to that stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. But I feel like any most of what we would consider like credible news is not going to talk about that either. Like,
I don't know. They kept that quiet. I never heard about it again. I started keeping up with it myself because that's just what I do. And I was looking at articles, so it was different private interviewers and people that write stories about it. But even then, people stopped talking about it. It just went quiet. Reporters stopped making articles about it. You got to find some blogger somewhere that's talking about it.
hmm. Yeah, I think there's going to be a growing space for that. Like already, like podcasts have like completely dominated the news. Like
Oh yeah.
no one our age gets their news from the news anymore.
I don't even watch it anymore. I don't. I literally find people that I trust that put proper, information, and I follow those people. And I always do my own research. That's why I tell people no matter because some of these podcasts, if you some of them, because everybody jumping on one now, that don't mean they're giving you true credible information. So you
Mhm.
always need to do your research.
Yeah, I mean, even with this show, like if don't take anything I say or that she says at face value, like do your own research on it. That's true of everything you see. Like
Yeah.
don't listen to anyone. Like do your own research. Um, yeah, unless unless it's medicine, then you just gotta trust it and don't ask any questions.
At least that's what they've been having us doing. Oh my God. You remember, oh my, do you remember the opiate issue? It's still an opiate problem going on. But even all them opiates, like they want us to, as a matter of fact, here in Tennessee, they banned THCA now. That's gonna pass
Hmm.
January, but they sure ain't banning these drugs and these pharmaceuticals and all this stuff that's
Oh yeah,
deadly.
yeah. It's
Stuff,
because
stuff
yep,
like that.
yeah. It's something I've been hearing about the THCA thing too. Is people are going, oh, it's conservative Christians voting with their religion, and it's like, no, they're not voting with religion. It's because Tennessee is an agricultural state, and hemp and weed cost big pharmaceutical and big tree and like big paper. They cost big rope. They cost all these people a lot of money because
Yes.
that's like a miracle plant. Like hemp itself, even without getting into weed, is just like hemp is incredibly strong. It's incredibly lightweight. It's better than paper or rope or anything else we make with
Hmm.
wood. Yeah,
And there's no money in healing for them.
yeah. No,
There's no money.
it's like what you're saying. You can cure someone, but if you cure them, they don't need you anymore, right?
So
Like,
they can't let that happen. And I mean, I don't know if you've been paying attention to all the recalls they've been having on food, like stuff in the every time I turn around, something on the news is saying it was pesticides in this, it was metals found in this. So people have been getting sick just from the food. So it went from the pharmaceuticals to the food, and we've been knowing that. I don't know if y'all remember that video they had on Netflix years ago. It was like "What the Health," and they were showing you how all the bad stuff that's in food. Nobody understood what the artificial colors was, and all the toxic chemicals that's been in food and cereal. Remember they had plastic in cereal, like stuff like Lucky Charms, and so it's been a war on food for a long. That's what they always do. It's always they gonna give you the needle, or they gonna mess up with our food, or they gonna pump you with pills or surgeries. You know what I mean? Nothing that has to do with a plant. They do not promote herbal healing
yeah, no,
of
for
any
sure.
kind.
They're poisoning us in mind, in spirit, and in body. In every way, they're poisoning us.
And then knowledge, that's the biggest one. Once they can get us to believe their lies and whatever. And I forgot if you said you were from here or not, but this is Tennessee. This is the Bible Belt, so it's a church on every corner.
Yep. Yeah, I grew up in
And
Fayetteville, Tennessee.
yeah, see, so you already know I don't care what part of Tennessee you go to, the smallest town gonna have one little white building with a cross in the front
Mhm.
somewhere.
Yeah, that's
It,
facts.
it's serious.
Where are you from originally?
I'm born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee, and my family is from Shelbyville, Tennessee. So I was like a back and forward kid. My mom and them grew up there, and we still spent a lot of time down there with my family because I still have a lot of family that still live down there. They're so country, they not coming to this city, big city stuff. They just not coming. So they stayed out in the country, and I got pretty much family everywhere now. White Creek, Tennessee, people in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We Tennessee people, but yep, I've been in Nashville for a while. I went to school here and everything.
Right on. What got you on your spiritual journey? We talked a little bit about how you were raised religiously. When did you start exploring your spirituality, I guess? You get what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say?
Yes, I do. Okay, so thank you for asking that question. So I started on my spiritual journey at a very a young age, and I wasn't even as knowledgeable that that's what I was doing because it was natural to me. So, like you said, we was talking on the phone the other day. I was like, experimenting with doing tarot readings and cards and stuff, hanging out at like when we used to go to the mall. It was Hot Topic. That was like the dark art store in the mall, and I was always drawn to that store. And I started doing it at 6 at home, stuff like after church and stuff. I got in trouble before too. My mom was like, "We don't." She came in that room and saw that, found my cards, and she was like, "We worship Jesus." And she was like, she threw my stuff away. Like, what is this? And then I got smart. I said, "Mom, we could have just." I said, "I still had my receipt. We could have just took it back and got our money back at least." And I got in trouble for that.
You were
I
doing it
said,
at the church?
Yeah, no, it was after church. Like, so, it was, and but we used to go, like, between services, we go back to church. So I used to do it in my room. And I was like, you could have got your money back at least, because that was my allowance money that she gave me. So I said, it was your money.
You just
You just
threw
threw
away
it
your
away.
own money.
You just threw away your own money. We could have took it, at least get it back and got a receipt. I got the receipt, right? But yeah, so it was forbidden. It was considered demonic, and I just naturally I grew up watching, I don't know, Miss Cleo. She used to come on super
Yeah.
late at night. That's how I really started watching. I could understand her reading the cards. I was like, so when she would draw the cards and show you, I was like, I knew what it meant. So I told people all the time, I never got like I never went to a course or a class for tarot. I just naturally just got it. It was just I was naturally locked in and online with it. So I got away from it for a while though, because just life took over, trying to keep it a secret too for my family and stuff as I got older. So I just kind of, end up going through the typical college life, and it wasn't as popular because people still demonized it. And I feel like 2020 was that year that people started being more open. I had people coming to me like, "Do you still do readings?" And I was like, "Since when?" So I started doing readings for people during 2020. People like family members, they was like, please don't tell my mom, or don't say. I'm like, they don't want to know that I'm doing your reading. We probably both get demonized, okay? So it was natural for me.
Okay. So you kind of always leaned towards that then. Um,
Yes.
does that give you thoughts about like past life integration, stuff like that?
You know what? That's the best question. Yes, it did. I said I know for a fact in a past life that I identify as a bruja, which is a witch. I know in a past life I was always like this. You know what I mean? And this is me in a reincarnated state for sure.
Mm.
That's why I was so young, naturally in tune with my spiritual gifts. You know what I mean? And it used to be hard for me to understand it about myself because I was always extremely different growing up from my family. I felt like I didn't understand, like, why do I feel like I'm so different and I don't fit in with my family? Then when I try to show them the stuff, they would call it weird or demonize it. You know what I mean? And even at school, I was always different. I tell people I was not a cool kid. I was the girl reading Harry Potter on my lunch break. I'm reading Lord of the Rings, okay? Like trying to tell them y'all should read these books and getting made fun of because I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
So it was tough for me, but I'm glad that over time I had to go through a lot. I learned to embrace that, hey, I'm weird and different, and now everybody want to be weird and different now.
Yeah. Yeah. I woke up young too. It's like, why don't people get what I get? Like, I see problems that y'all have, and y'all are adults, and y'all don't see them. Yeah, I feel that.
Man, I was young. Like if adults, that's the same adults that would tell me to stay in a child's place were the same adults that when they needed advice about stuff that they couldn't figure out, and I was a kid, they would come to see me. Like people, my mom used to couldn't stand it. They would be coming over there and they'd be like, "I was coming here to talk to your daughter." Exactly. So I was a kid, and they coming in here trying to talk to me about life, and I was giving them solutions as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
but they
Yeah,
didn't want me to know that.
that's a fucked up thing to put kids through, but it happens. So
Oh
you're
yeah.
like, you're basically like, without the cards, you're kind of giving people like intuitive readings, kind of without the cards at a young age.
I was. That's why I tell people. I said I can do reading. I can read without the cards. I don't have to have the cards. The cards are just more like a guide for you all. Because sometimes people get weirded out if you just read them
Yeah.
uh without cards. I've had somebody that got freaked out by me, and they dipped out because I read them like a book, and they couldn't believe I knew that much about them without no cards. And he yelled at me. He said, "Man, you a witch. You crazy." And I'm like, how you gonna ask me to read you and then freak out?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's scary for people sometimes, especially when you're accurate.
What's like, what do you think? This is a big question. I'm trying to figure out how to ask it. What do you think is like going on in the world? Like, what's the like biggest level of shit going on? Like,
Ooh,
yeah, I don't,
ooh, you got to make me go in there now.
yeah, we're going in.
Okay. So I definitely, back to what we was talking about, the spiritual warfare. I definitely know for a fact that it's a war between religion and rebellion. That's what I like to call it. People that wish to rebel, because we have been getting ran, and controlled by religion for a very long time. I tell people this all the time. I speak about it on my platform a lot and post things about how most of the world before religion were pagans and stuff. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about in all cultures. So religion came over and put they boot on everybody's neck. You know what I mean? And was like, you better pick up this Bible and serve this Bible and believe in this God, or we will take crucify you like Christ on some stuff like that. And people been scared to embrace, this. So now that people have started to rebel. I mean, I don't remember it started in 2020, that coup when they stormed the Capitol. Oh, that was great. That
Oh,
was that was they stormed that Capitol because people started waking up. They was like, oh heck no. So now people like, you've been lying to us. We done been tricked. And now that's the fight. Because a lot of people, they said 2020 was the biggest year that people walked out of church. And the numbers still been dropping.
mm,
They said that was a mass. They lost the most members in churches in 2020, and then spiritual people started having their spiritual awakenings, and spirituality has been going up. So now that's the debate. That's the fight right now to keep people woke versus keeping them asleep. Because some people getting scared, some people have gotten scared, and they'll run back to church because they think they're doing something wrong. That's how much they've been in fear. They don't know, they're scared. You know what I'm saying? They think they really believe that hell exists.
yeah, it it is fear. And so this thing, this order versus chaos, as you put it, rebellion versus religion, or authority versus freedom.
Yes.
What's at the top of that? Like, is this just? I guess I'm just gonna quit beating around the bush. Like, is it people doing this to people, or is there like a greater evil involved with?
I know, I do believe there is, so that's the spiritual warfare. I do believe, just like the Bible tells it about the fight in heaven with the angels and demons. I do believe that there are the demonic forces and spirits that are on the same. So you got to think we're just bodies, right? And spirits are housed, souls and spirits are housed in this vessel we're born in. And when we leave these vessels, we become spirits and all that. So these are same spirits, whether they have a physical body or not, that's in the universe, and some of them are on the positive side of this war, and some of them on the negative side. So it's a spiritual war. And what do spirits do? Attached to the living vessels. So that's why I tell people a lot of times your worst enemies be people you know, family members, friends, people that's close to you, because if they're not in a high awakened state, spiritually healed wise, they're easy to be used for an attack on another person. So that's why you see spouses doing each other wrong, friendships doing each other wrong, siblings, family, all the crazy stuff that happens, and people hurting each other, supposed to love each other. They're being used spiritually in a negative way, and they're not conscious enough and aware of it, so they don't know how to protect themselves too. And that's why I tell people to wear things like copper, crystals, protection symbols like my uncle stuff, to protect yourself from these dark forces, obsidian and all that. And most people are not doing it.
Mm. It's to add on to what you're saying. I think that's one of the scariest things about real life possession is it's subtle and it's simple and it's not your head spinning around 360 degrees and you floating in the air. It's
Mm-mm.
you being mean to your spouse. It's you abusing your kids. It is just that's all it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
People
it
don't know that.
Yeah, they don't know that. And like ironically, it's a lot of religious people, right? Like you get that that spirit of authority, like I've got to discipline and be dogmatic. It's like that comes from being raised in a strict religious upbringing.
And I did. I got raised. And the crazy part is about how I got raised. The same people that raised me to be just perfect, right, were the biggest hypocrites.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about they wouldn't, everything they were trying to tell me to do, they weren't even doing themselves. How you gonna try to teach me how to be holier than thou, but you're not leading by example? So the hypocrisy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. You got any advice for young people starting to wake up? Like if there's young people watching this right now, what's your advice to them for moving through this world?
I recommend if you're, but this is for all great age groups, but definitely if you're young still, because you got a lot of time, you should definitely go through an isolation journey and build yourself up as far as your self-love, your self-confidence, your strength. You know what I'm saying? Learn how to be dependent on your own. So because you're less likely to be taken advantage of, manipulated, and put in a codependent situation with somebody that doesn't even mean you well. And that happens a lot when you're not. And study. It's time to start studying things. Keep yourself sharp. Be a knowledge seeker and really expand your knowledge and be open minded. Learn how to get your facts and just be your own. I call it being your own God, being your own teacher, being your own leader. You have to become self sufficient. It could be dangerous out here. You could get
Yeah,
ate up out here.
yeah, for sure. I think it happens with everyone, and you're right, it's not an age group thing either. But there's like a trap that like and I feel for them too, but like a lot of young women like getting out of an abusive household, fall into a relationship with some guy and then like, they don't have anywhere to go. So it's not really their fault, but then they end up in that same trap that they're trying to get away from. And it's really
That
sad.
happened to me.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
terrible.
That's what I'm saying. When you don't see, and I had to get counseling, so that's another I recommend everybody that needs to get counseling at least one time in their life. Just go to at least 2 or 3 sessions and see what happens. If you can, because trust me, once you get in that first session, and if you make it to the third session, I bet you're gonna realize it's some more work you need to do. It's time for that mirror work, that shadow work. You know what I mean? You got to get out of the victim state and get in your superhero state. So I'm saying, it's,
Yeah.
they've been teaching us that we waiting for a savior. Nah, baby, you are your savior.
Yeah.
Yep.
I that yeah, just first of all, well said. That's awesome. Because yeah, you can't wait on anyone to fix shit for you. You got to figure that out. And it's not easy, but it's your responsibility, everyone's responsibility to work on themselves and figure out the mess that they've been put in. And it's not easy. It's a lot of people, I mean, myself included, struggle with it, but that's what what we have to do. It's everyone's job to fix themselves. Um, there's it's not easy either. Everyone's being manipulated, and it's when people hurt each other, it's usually because they've been hurt. Like a lot of child abusers were abused as kids, and that's not a justification, but
It's not.
no, you gotta figure that shit out. It's no excuse. But
Yeah, 'cause if you didn't like it, why do you think somebody else gonna like it?
well, yeah, yeah, it's still evil, right? It's still super evil.
Right. That's why I said I got abused too, but I was like, what do I look like inflicting the type of harm that was done to me? I've never wanted to repeat that stuff. You know what I mean? So I got
Yeah.
help. You know what I mean? Because sometimes the pain. See, sometimes everybody does this. Some people that got abused, they become abusers. Some people that got abused, they're the opposite. They may allow themselves to continue being abused because they don't know how to be treated right. You know what I'm saying?
Or they become like us and become like vigilantes. Like I'm gonna go out of my
Right.
way to fuck up abusers. Like
Man, or they like you said, they just some of them they just stay away from, they become what I call like even me, I became introverted. I have been through so much stuff. I didn't trust easily. I had really, really, really bad trust issues. I was like in my turtle shell. I didn't want to be around nobody because the people that I was around my whole life, like family and friends, were the people that caused me harm. So it made me think if my own family and friends don't care about me, why should I think a total stranger will, right? People don't get that. We got to talk about that. How when you've been damaged by people that's supposed to be your flesh and blood or or your even, your spouses and your close, friends or whatever cause you the most harm and destruction, how are you supposed to heal from all that and go out in the world and feel like you can trust total strangers? The fear of it, the anxiety that comes with all that. You got to heal through all that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It it's especially fucked up with kids because you're fucking them up for life when you abuse a kid, and they, it's like you're saying, you figure out how to handle it, but it takes time before you do that, and during that time, you're probably not a great person to be around either. Like,
That's why I wasn't. I can attest to that. I was trying to get people to get it. They didn't understand why I didn't want to hang around. I'm like, baby, I'm screwed up. I'm having to heal from years and years of childhood trauma, and it's not going to happen overnight. And I was still toxic in a lot of ways that I didn't want people to see. And that's why I said the solitary journey is beneficial because you can heal without harming others with from the areas that you haven't, rid yourself of. I had to do a lot of work, and I tell you, don't do it alone. You need to be getting counseling. Why, some type of counseling. You can get readings, like I do readings, I do counseling session too to help you through it. But sometimes people think they get in trauma bonds, like relationships, and y'all just harm each other because y'all not healed. You can't treat people right when you don't love yourself. You can't be treated right by somebody that don't love themselves. So y'all just in this trauma bond, hurting each other and making it worse.
yeah, I've been there. Yeah,
Well, I have too. I think we all have, right? That's how people get in domestic, right? And
yeah,
then you refuse to just get help, and this is time for you to be alone right now and help and heal and grow and let go of some, be able to let go of some of this stuff so you can become that better person. So I don't regret my solitary journey and my healing journey at all because I tell people you're never going to be perfect. So don't try to be perfect. It's about getting better every day. That's all you can do. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? Never not being perfect because you still may have, like, I still have some things, but I tell people, okay, stuff like this will trigger me. So because I went through this when I was younger, and when you do this, it kind of triggers that. So if you could just be mindful about that, and I'm mindful, I know that you're not doing this intention. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta communication is a big thing too. I think we forget about communication.
yep,
Somebody can't know that something is hurting you if you don't tell them. You know what I mean? And tell them the first time. Don't wait till it happens 10 times and blow up on them and they don't even know what's wrong with you. You know what I'm saying?
that too, that too. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to be that way. I would wait to because you were scared to complain because
Mhm.
you didn't want to run them off or you didn't want somebody to think you were crazy. So you'll wait till it happened for the 10th time before you know you done snapped off, went crazy, and then they like, whoa, what's this? They thrown off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I know exactly what you mean. So let me ask you this. So I have this really strong intuition that
Mhm.
I have been here before, like you. Uh,
We have.
and I think I came back here on purpose.
I did too. I don't. Yes.
Yeah. What do you think you're here to do?
Oh, that is the
Exactly
craziest
what you're doing, right?
question. Yes, I ain't gonna lie. I said, what is my problem? I always want to see. I've been with that, how to say Captain Saver H. I'm always trying to save everybody. I'm a healer. I know it. I'm like, I was born for that. I tell people I'm a revolutionary. I got that Harriet Tubman spirit. I want to help everybody wake up. And I came back here to help with this because I'm strong enough for it. I can
Yeah.
withstand
Yeah.
I can withstand this spiritual stuff. They can't stop me. I mean, you can try, you can delay some stuff, you can slow some stuff down, but you can't stop me.
Yeah. Man, I feel you on that so much because my struggle, like my toxic struggle that I'm going through right now, and I've gotten a lot better, but I'm not perfect. I'm still working on it.
It's all right.
Um, I get so frustrated with people for not seeing the thing. Like like it's
Hmm.
really obvious to me and you and some of like the circle you and I run in. Like we see things, but not everyone's like that. Most people are not. And I get really frustrated. Like why don't you get it? Like why don't you understand this? And then I got to remember like we're talking about children. Like we're old as fuck. We're
Yeah, I'm
probably
old.
thousands of years old.
More than that.
We're talking about kids. So it's like it, I have to find the patience to like chill and give people time to grow, you know.
Patience.
It's tough.
Yes. I had to learn patience. Yes, patience is a big deal. Cause one thing I'm gonna tell you what you have to accept is accept that you're not gonna be able to save everybody. That was my hardest part. I'm like, wait a minute, you sent me. I came back here to not to just to save is the few that I can help save themselves. Cause that's not that we're helping people save themselves. We're not saving anybody. We're saving ourselves. Actually, that's another thing we don't realize. We came back here to show people that it can be done even in the midst of this chaos, right? And
Okay.
be an example to others, so to let them know, have no fear, you can do it too, right? Uh, and but it be making us mad. Like, what you mean? 'Cause especially when we see the people that stay asleep and they just don't see it. But that's the spiritual warfare that got them good. I got family members like that. My mama still think she got it down pack. I love her to life and back, and she still think I'm on the demon side. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
She think I'm on the devil's side. I'm like, baby,
That's
no, you the one sucking blood at church every Sunday, not me.
I have like I have like the same conversation with my mom. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sucking blood. I don't sacrifice things. I don't even do that. I don't even do sacrificial magic. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
y'all are
saying?
the
Even
ones
though
doing ritual magic. Y'all doing blood magic. What are you doing?
I do believe in blood magic, but I don't. I'm a woman. I don't have to kill anything or kill anybody.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, I don't have to do that. I have other ways to get blood. So I'm like, y'all are actually, and I'm not symbolizing drinking it either. You know what I mean? So I'm like, that's y'all are practicing cannibalism. And if you
Yes.
don't think that's spiritually affecting you, you're lying.
Yep. No.
Because in witchcraft, everything is spiritual and symbolism. So even when I do
Yeah.
rituals myself, everything is symbolism. And the symbolism is what makes it powerful because even the Bible says, whatever man thinketh, so is he.
Mm.
So whatever you think,
Yeah.
if you feel this to be, so when we're doing that ritual, we have to believe. And it does work. You have to, and I might say, what you should imagine how powerful y'all doing up in them churches and stuff. You
Yeah.
talking about us.
That
I'm
straight
praying
up.
to the sun and the moon and the stars, okay? Something that they say the Most High created. I think even to Happy Earth Day, today's Earth Day. So I'm like, I'm giving gratitude to the grass that grows, the fruit that the earth produces, the food, the
Mm.
soil. That is spiritual. How is that demonic? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, for sure. And yeah, I go through the same thing with my mom. Like something she's told me before is like, well, we don't think it's actually blood and flesh. Like we know it's symbols for, it's wine and crackers that are symbols. And I'm like, what do you think ritual magic is? Like it's all
Symbolism.
symbolism. Yeah. Like, yeah. I mean, I got nothing against doing ritual magic,
I don't.
but they're massive hypocrites for condemning ritual magic when they're like the biggest group of occult magicians.
And I mean, they had stuff in the Bible about sacrificing their sons and the as a burnt offering. It's all that, and I post up. I'm be honest, y'all. If I tell people, I get like tore up on my YouTube page sometimes when I do my dates discussions sometimes, and I talk about this. I'm like, they was in the Bible. They was about to sacrifice one of their sons for as a burnt offering, and they did used to do sacrifice or magic. That's in the Bible. They used to like sacrifice animals,
Yeah.
and I think Christians forget. They try to turn a blind eye to a lot of those Bible verses. They even talk about the witch of Endor in the
Hmm.
Bible where she was summoning Samuel. You know what I'm saying? So conjuring, and I'm like, do y'all realize how witchy and how much witchcraft is in the Bible? Like it's some ritualistic stuff in there. It's
It's the whole thing. That's all it is. It's nothing except a grimoire. Uh, the especially don't even get me started on the Old Testament. I could talk about the Old Testament
They
for like
love
an
staying away
hour.
from that Old Testament, baby.
Let's say what?
They love trying to act like we don't go by the Old Testament. Now we're gonna include this Old Testament. We're not gonna.
Yeah.
That's how they justify it. They try to throw away stuff. No, we're gonna include the Old Testament.
we're gonna have to talk sometime off camera about the Old Testament because I got a lot of shit to say about that. That's something I will say this real quick. I so growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, something that we got told a lot is like so we didn't celebrate holidays, we didn't celebrate birthday parties, and Jehovah's Witnesses are like we understand what the Bible really is, and all of these other Christians don't. Like
That's how
we,
Church of Christ was.
yeah, they're all kind of like that, right? They all
Yeah,
think they've
which
got it
make
figured out.
that's a lot of division. I don't understand either, but go ahead.
But yeah, no, they've all got it figured out, even though they don't think about it. But um, that was they're like we understand what this is more than everyone else does. I'm trying to remember where I was going with that. But what where I was going with that is Jehovah's Witnesses really do read the Bible though. Like I've read the Bible, and like you go knock on people's doors to talk about it. Like you got to at least know what you're supposed to say. You got to know like at least a little bit about it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that was one thing that I did appreciate about how I was raised is that like scripture was drilled into me. And
Mm-hmm.
um that shit is extremely profound, but no one understands it. Not, Christians do not understand the Bible. They don't understand that it's what we're talking about. It is a grimoire that teaches you how to invoke spirit, and that is all it is. And something I realized is okay, like Christians don't understand the Bible, but I didn't know this till like I started, I became an adult and started meeting people of different backgrounds and stuff. Um, Jewish people are like that too. They don't know the Bible. And
Mm-mm.
I just didn't know it was like that until I was an adult. I'm like, I know Christians don't know the Bible, but I didn't realize that like neither do Jews or Muslims. Like no one knows what their religion is. And I'm speaking in like a collective. Like obviously there are good Christians, there are good Jews and good Muslims that do understand the
There
book.
are, because I have clients. I tell people I have clients that are Muslims, that are Christians, and everybody is, they don't, like, everybody don't have a negative, negativity
Yeah.
towards people like myself. But it's a large group that do.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, not all of them, but most of them like don't know what they're talking about. So it's like I'm not a Christian or a Jew, but I know the Bible better than most of them. And that like be telling it's just fun. I'm sure you can relate, but it's just funny like schooling Christians on scripture. Like
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you're in the same boat where you know a lot more about the Bible than a lot of Christians meet.
I was raised in a Church of Christ, so we used to have Bible homework, and we stayed at church. It was like 24/7. We was at church after school. You had to go to church. We used to do Bible study at home. Bible. We had the Bible, a Bible worship before you went to school. You had Bible verses you had to learn throughout the week and know by heart.
That's more strict than what I grew up with, actually. That's pretty wild.
Bible, Bible, Bible. I know that Bible. I tell you, don't play. Don't. We don't have to get into. I can show you some verses.
Yeah. Um, can you can you say something nice about religion? Like something beneficial or good about it?
Yes, I do love if you because first, okay, I want to say this. The Bible, a lot of the Bible, the text that came from the Bible came from ancient Kemet, which is known as ancient Egypt. And that's where they got that stuff from. So the Ten Commandments and all that came from the
Mm-hmm.
42 laws of Ma'at.
Yeah.
So the things that are positive about it, like the book of Psalms and all that, I actually it's a very powerful book when used the right way. So that's what I tell people. I don't demon, just because I'm not a Christian doesn't mean I demonize the Bible. You know what I'm saying? You can use the Bible, since it's a, like you said, a grimoire, for some very powerful rituals in your spiritual practice that I recommend. You know what I'm saying? It's some very
Absolutely.
powerful scriptures in that book. You know what I mean? Even Jesus himself, if you think about it, he was a healer.
Hmm.
He healed the sick. He healed he healed helped the blind man see. He was a very positive, prophet of his time. So I feel like from that aspect, that it was even the modesty behind it, like telling them like marriage, how marriage is spoke about in there. I do believe that. I do believe, which some of us is not practicing, but they say how when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing, and how he has to leave his parents and become a husband and cleave to his wife. I love that stuff because it's true, and we got a lot of people not doing that. I tell people won't leave their parents. They still they're getting married, but still trying to be a little baby, running to their mom and daddy. They not reaching adulthood. They won't cleave to their husband or their wife, right? So it's a lot of stuff in that Bible I really recommend for people, for real.
Yeah. I think that's I think that's really important to do because like there's I'm just glad you said that. I'm glad you said that there's value in it because I agree with you. And on the laws of Mott, I we actually just did a podcast a couple months ago with this Kemetic pagan. Shout out to Raven Zinn. She broke. We went down all of the 42 laws of Mott, and it
What?
is interesting
I'm gonna have to check
how.
that out.
Oh, it was a great episode. Yeah, check that out. Last episode with Raven's in. She's very informed on Kemetic paganism. She came in with a fucking stack of papers, and we went through all the 42 laws of Mott. And yeah, it's a much more fleshed out and easy to comprehend version of the Ten
Hmm.
Commandments. Yeah,
Yeah, that's where it came from. So it's about order and balance, and that's something I do feel like we need. But I tell people, y'all are not the way that Bible was put together. People are not following it the way that it could really be beneficial to them. Not everybody. So yeah, the 42 laws of mind where it says thou shalt not sleep with another man's wife, and thou shalt not sleep with another woman's husband. I believe that stuff. You know what I mean? I believe in
yeah,
balance and order and justice, and we do need that. We do.
yeah. My friend Raven that was telling me about all this. She called it the Egyptian nuclear family, kind of like
I never heard of that.
yeah, I never heard of it either. Like, like
See
a
my
50s American family, but it's ancient Egypt.
That's crazy. I'm gonna definitely check it out. I feel like more of us need to uh tap into ancient Kemet. It's a book called Stolen Legacy. The Egyptian Book of the Dead. Those books I highly recommend. Be some great books to read into to learn a little bit more. It's another book called. It's actually called Ma'at. I have a copy of that too. It talks about like all of it. That's where Christianity really stems from. They stole a few things, a few texts, from there, and they just put a whole bunch of other books and all kind of stuff. And then y'all remember, if you do remember, it's stuff that's missing, like the Book of Enoch,
Hmm.
the Book of Eli, and even the Gospel of Mary, because Mary had a gospel. They took the
Mary
feminine principle out
Magdalene.
of the Bible. Yeah, they that's what's it. And I've read Mary Magdalene's. They should. I actually have Mary Magdalene's gospel. I loved it.
Oh,
That's
hell
what I said.
yeah.
I tell you, I'm a Mary Magdalene woman. Yes, she was a goddess.
Yeah.
She went to Egypt too, just like Jesus, and learned, and that's what she made her write a gospel for women.
They would have killed us a few hundred years ago for saying this, but she was the church. She
Say what?
was. She was the church. She
That's
was
why
the.
the Roman Catholic Church, if y'all see, they always putting crowns on Mary.
Yeah.
They
And you can't,
do,
yeah. Y'all didn't hear us say that. Don't come kill us for that.
but it's Mary.
Yeah.
It was Mary.
We're gonna be like that the Cash App guy.
Oh my God, stop. Oh my God. That
And
man,
then
I feel terrible on that stuff, man. That was crazy when that happened. And then they shut it up. So nobody spoke about it again. They just shut it down. They got what they want because they own Cash App now. He gone.
they always get what they want, don't they? Except in the
Yeah.
end, though. I got. So okay, it sounds like I'm here for the same reason you are, kind of save ourselves and save other people. But can you imagine the fucking balls it must have taken? Like, I'm gonna go back in. I made it out. I'm going back in again, and I might fuck up. I might not get. I might not save myself. Like, I'm taking a risk. I'm putting my life on the line for you motherfuckers.
Listen, I had a whole conversation with myself when I figured out that I decided that's what people don't get. I decided to come back here. I said, that's how I knew I love people and the world and what my purpose more than I realized. I'm like, I came back to help save humanity. And even though they don't even appreciate it, I'm still doing my job. Cause that's people don't get that. It's hard because people hated Jesus, right? He was
Yeah.
coming back to do his purpose and he was hated for it, but it still didn't they hated Moses, right? It still didn't stop these prophets from doing their job and say and helping to save the people that wanted to be saved. You know what I'm saying? So people always hate the prophets. You know what I'm saying? They always hate the chosen ones and all this stuff. It's always a large number of people that hate those people, and that's why those people are always they always have these dark forces trying to turn you against them. Like, don't listen to them. You know what I mean? Trying to prevent them from having followers. But I was mad. Like, why the heck did you come back here? But it's because we the only ones that can really do it. Because look, you see the mess. Just think about it. Remember they said it's only 144,000. So you see how much of a mess it is out here. We knew we knew that they was gonna need as much help as they can get. See what I'm saying? Because we got other people
Yeah.
like us out here too. So we wouldn't have came back. It just think about how it would be if we wouldn't have came back.
Hmm.
Just imagine that. If our platforms didn't exist, if we didn't exist, oh man, we would be. I tell people the dark ages would have been done returned.
Yeah. No,
And
it's necessary. It's good that we did, but it's like shit's tough. I don't know
it's
if
a
I
heavy.
would do it again. I'll tell you that. I don't know if I'll
Oh,
come
this is my
back.
last time. I'm not coming back. This is it.
Yeah.
I did my job. I'm not coming back again. I promised myself this is my last rent car. I'm staying in the cosmos. I'm gonna be a dope ancestor.
Yeah, I think I'm done too. I feel old and tired. I'm tired all the time.
I'm just burnt out. Like if the only way I would decide to even consider coming back again, I would have to come back as a freaking queen born into royalty. You see what I'm saying? Already at the top. I'm not coming back and
Yeah.
having to build from the ground up again.
You know
You
what's
know what I'm
funny?
saying?
You know what's funny about that though is it'll be harder to save yourself in that setting. Like people who've
True.
gone through struggle and trauma are the ones that, they crack open, you know?
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
I think that's messed up. The people that went through the worst stuff be the saviors. It is, and that's why I tell people Jesus wasn't rich. He wasn't born in richness. You know what I'm saying? He was a regular, what they say, Jewish boy. So
Yeah.
most people were born in poverty. They become like revolutionaries and healers and gurus and big time people like that. You know what I mean? That's crazy because people born in wealth, like the rich man in the Bible. Remember, he was rich and didn't want to get that man a crumb off his table. See what I'm saying? They get the money get to them because they ain't never had no words and they forgot what it would feel like to be asking for crumbs at somebody else's table.
They get it in their head that they're better than other people. And yeah, that's like a caste system. You familiar with the caste system, like in India?
No, I don't think so.
So, so there's like a ruling class, and then there's like a servant class, and
Okay.
and there's more than two. It's like layered. But like you're born into it's bloodlines. You're born into
Mm,
this bloodline. That means that you're a ruler, and everyone else is like servants beneath you, and that's like straight up how it is. And what's fucked up about that, beyond the obvious, is that they start treating it. They also believe in reincarnation, so it's you were born into being a servant because that's what you deserve. So if I was born into a position of royalty, that means I had a really good life in the past. And it's like
mm.
it's fucked up. But yeah, yeah, you got to take everyone at their merit because it's like you're saying it, are you familiar with the Buddhist story Siddhartha? I'll do this
Probably.
I'll do this real quick. So, um there was this boy Siddhartha born onto his father's estate, which had like this mansion with servants and it had this garden. And he was born and raised there, and there were big walls where he couldn't see over the garden. So his
Mm,
entire life is in this paradise. And that's what the story is about. This is a Garden of Eden story. So he's in paradise and he's like, Father, I want to go see the world. And his father's like, I raised you in this garden because the world sucks. Like, if you go
mm,
out there, you're going to be disappointed. And he is like, I have to see for myself. I have to go
Yeah.
and see. So he
Yeah.
goes. He goes out and he see. You already know where this is going. He goes out
Yeah.
and he sees everything. He sees prostitutes and he sees the drunks and the gamblers, and he gets involved in all of it. Like
Oh,
he digs himself down into it,
right.
and um, then he comes full circle, realizes his father's wisdom, and has a kid of his own.
Mm.
He tries to raise this kid in the garden, and his son's like, "Fuck you, dad. I want to go see the world." And he's like, "God damn it, you're just like me." Like that's
Yes.
yeah, that's what it's
I
all
feel
about.
like everybody did. I did the same thing too. I'm like, I want to go out there. I want to see the world. And I tell you, I ain't even left the country yet, and I seen enough to be like, I'm okay. You know what I'm saying?
This is the problem with nepo babies is like you're born into wealth, you're gonna fuck it up because you're not the hard ass that like knows how to make money like your parents did.
Right. That's why I like people that even though they're rich, they make their kids work their way to the top.
You
So
got
they don't spoil their kids. They make them learn how to run a business. Matter of fact, they'll send them somewhere, send them off to boarding schools and or different stuff that will help them. They don't just and they have to get inheritance based off how good they're doing at certain different ages. You know what I'm saying? But if they haven't reached certain goals, they don't get their money. So I feel like there should be discipline in that you can't just give them everything they want. They have to learn how to build because if something ever was to happen to you, or if this money didn't exist, could you build something? And they need to learn how to have those skills.
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, you're not a very good parent if you don't do that. If you don't give your kid struggles, you know.
Right.
Um, so just a couple of quick rapid fire questions for you before we go.
Okay.
So what's the meaning of life? Why is all this going on? It's not a
Ooh,
quick
yeah.
question. It's not a
You
quick or
it was
easy
not.
question.
You just jumped in there. Okay. So I personally feel like this is the time of karma. You know, this is the pendulum swinging. You know, what goes around comes around. What goes up must come down. So we have been indoctrinated. We have been, you know, enslaved, and me and a friend of mine, we were just talking about how even women just got out of slavery. You know, women been in slavery. Marriage is a form of slavery. I don't care what nobody says. The fact that we couldn't have bank accounts, we couldn't own a house, we couldn't have a house in our name, we couldn't have jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Our grandmothers are a product of that, and the whole, everything that's done happened since then. So now this is karma. People are starting to reap what they sow. The wheel has turned.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's absolutely true. As women did not have the same rights afforded to men um, for a long time, and I think men are having a hard time adjusting to the new reality they find themselves in.
Yeah, the only reason why men were even successful is because we couldn't be as successful. We was not able to do anything. We couldn't even have a license. So I tell people, half of your my grandma passed away. She was 94. She never driven in her life. She never because she didn't grow up at a time
Uh,
that she never had a license. She never even learned how to drive because my granddaddy did all the driving. My granddaddy, she never had nothing in her name because it was all in my granddaddy's name. So she grew up in a time where you know, have women didn't have rights, but thankfully she had a good man that didn't take advantage of her. You know what I mean? Some of these men, they didn't treat their wives right in these situations. You know, a lot of women had to put up with a lot of stuff and stay with men, even if she wasn't happy, she wasn't being treated right, because she couldn't go anywhere else, because she couldn't do nothing without a man. And then they wonder why some women are literally don't know how to be without a man now because as an answer, most mothers taught their daughters that. Then guess what your mama did? Your mama taught you that. So most women are taught to be man crazy. You know what I mean? And now the wheel is turned. Now everybody's having to hold their own weight. You see how marriage is the worst it's ever been. The divorce rate is so high, nobody even get married no more.
yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of people aren't even fucking like all over the world, like all over
yes,
the
people are
fucking world.
practicing celibacy
Yeah. It's like
because we haven't been taught how to just be by ourselves. We have been taught to
yeah,
be married. Marriage has been even that's what I can even say. Even men have been forced to. That's why, like you said, men are having a hard time. He's been forced to and taught his whole life to get up and you got to get your good wife and help you out. So now he don't think he know how to do anything without a woman.
yeah. Yeah.
So they said, I tell people all this stuff. It was a patriarch. The patriarchy failed men and women. Y'all thought it was just gonna fail. You thought it was just gonna fail women. Now it failed you too, because now you struggling on how to do stuff on your own without a woman around. Sometimes, not all the time, not all men, but some people, and vice versa. Some women don't know how to do nothing without a man.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it's true. And this is where I'm going to piss some people off, but women are still a second class citizen in some parts of the world where they don't have
It's
rights. And, you know, I'm this cis white male in America, so who am I to comment on this? But like in the Middle East, there's all kinds of places where they'll just cut your clit off because you need to be a subjugate baby
can you
factory.
man, can you believe that?
No.
I don't think people get that. I have talked about this before. I'm like, it's so we. I'm grateful that the times have changed for women in America specifically. But they still trying to control us. Look how they drop. It's several states. I just talked about, it's about 12 or something states that they banned abortion now. You know what I mean? 1 minute, they always trying to take some type of right from us away. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, straight up. I mean, yeah, I'm all about my body, my choice. Now that does also extend to other things too. Like I can put whatever drugs I want in my body because you're not my fucking dad. You don't tell me what I can and can't do. But that's that applies even more so to women telling them they can or can't have an abortion. Like I'm sorry, who the fuck are you
Right.
to
I'm,
tell me anything? Yeah.
and y'all not the one carrying the babies for 9 months, and single motherhood is at all, it's been at an all-time high. It always has. More men will walk out on the child either during the marriage or even before the baby is born. That happens a lot. So to not give women, I know a lot of women that literally when they got pregnant, their husbands walked out because they weren't ready to be dads and they just disappeared. I know several women like this. So just imagine those women. Then and so more women are always stuck with being a parent and raising children by themselves without any support, and you telling me you want to take our ability away to get an abortion as well. So first we couldn't get jobs, and that's just imagine that. What about back then? I feel like back then men couldn't run away back then, but they did. But then what did a woman had to do? They would have to find another husband to take her and her kids in because her husband don't run off and left her. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I hear you.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's fucked up. I mean, I guess kind of the silver lining to what we've been talking about is it seems like more people are waking up, which, fingers crossed that this thing turns itself around. But I know for sure it's not going to happen with people like you. So thank you for being you. You are a light in this world, and I appreciate you.
Yes, I thank you so much for having me on. I enjoyed this. This is great.
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome back anytime. Check out the Copper Queen. Go to her shop site, goddessontherise.life. And also in the description below, check out her YouTube channel, Sacred Energy Exchange 222. And we'll see you next week.